Then and now, we got the crown when we rock the town. Hot sound keep us breaking ground while we chillin' lounge. 3 generations, black nerd soldiers, podcast snipers trying to pop culture. Allegedly, haters try to talk, but a pedigree in rare form.
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of the Then and Now podcast. I'm your co-host, Captain Diesel, and I am joined with my illustrious co-host, Professor E, King of the Comics, Ethan Murphy, and Lelouch V, a.k.a. the Big Blurt Muffin, a.k.a. the Kratos of Gaming. How are y'all doing, my brothers?
Yeah, I'm decent. I'm not going to bother acknowledging the fuckery and the things attached to my name that are involuntary.
The more you fight it, the more you sound like the Kratos of gaming. That's the irony of it. That's the irony of it.
Nigga want to say boy so bad.
Yeah, he just call his boy. That's get through the chase.
And shout out to Kate Cunningham for the performance he put on the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, 42 is crazy. I need to go back and watch that whole game.
42-13 at 8.
Hey man, I was trying to tell y'all about Detroit. I tried to tell y'all. But it's gonna be a fun show today, y'all. One of the few times where like all three of us came with the actual a topic from all three of our different realms. So it's gonna be a really diverse show, a really dope show. But I want to start off by again for anybody that is new, all the new people we had. Thank you guys so much for showing up and enjoying and having really good conversation around the Ernie video. I know that was one that, again, in my mind, it wasn't my most favorite thing to make. That's why I didn't do my own video on it on my own channel. I talked about it on the stream, but I didn't like do a full breakdown video on it. But the fact that we were able to have that conversation and kind of, unify behind a piece of Black history, especially within the comic book realm, I was really happy to see that people were having some common sense. There's some stupid motherfuckers in there. Don't get me wrong. But for the most of you, appreciate y'all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But getting into it, I have a little clip for you guys to react to. And I'm so curious as to how you guys feel about this.
I hate people like that. The people that just like, I don't know, think they read a bunch of comics and think they're better than everyone else for it.
Correct. It's my biggest thing in the world. There's just this subsect of comic readers that read every comic, and therefore every comic is good. Wrong. It's my biggest. There are bad comics.
It's not like, yes, there are bad, but it's like you think because you read everything that like you're a bigger comic fan or like you know more or whatever. It's like,
yeah,
dude,
sure. They know more of the
horse.
history. They know more stories, but that doesn't make you better, or like this just doesn't make you like a better.
If
person.
anything, I'd say that gets you lost in translation of who these characters actually are. Like you have so much history and so much facts in your head of like who these characters are. You've missed like what they're actually representing.
No, like, I respect, like if you want to read comics, like I respect it. But
Watching what
I have the inability to like enjoy Brave New World. Like
it's so stupid.
I shouldn't have the privilege to talk about it. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Like
I think that's the dumbest. If anything, it's like that's good that you haven't read as much. So you can offer your own unique perspective.
Right, exactly.
You can make up your own ideas
as long as you're respectful about it. Mm-hmm. Some people have a problem doing that.
Otis is long.
So, in one of the few occasions, I don't even want to go first. I'm gonna let Otis go first. What do you
Otis
your
your
raw thoughts? Yeah, Otis, what you got to say, man?
If you a casual, be a casual, bro. Like, it's okay to be a casual fan, but like trying to come at people that actually know the source for knowing the source, like that's like I'm trying to quantify exactly how dumb that shit just like, oh, you're in school and you're now getting punished for studying. Like
what I will say, I will give them some grace and some bail, because there is the slight chance that these guys ran into what a lot of, especially women fans, run into, where they probably went into a local comic shop or a comic book space and they ran into the 10th level dimensional nerd that loves to gatekeep and quiz you on your ability to be a fan of this stuff. They want to make sure you've seen and read every show or every piece of a run. If you run into those people, I understand why you feel the way you feel. But you then to turn around and do something even more stupid by like making it seem as though you're trying to invalidate people for enjoying the source material, I find very interesting. From the factor of comics is one of the only hobbies I feel like outside of maybe music where you have to like beg and plead people to actually do the hobby. Like people love to have opinions on the hobby made by other people's opinions on the hobby, not actually consuming the things themselves.
I feel like that's sports, that is anime, that is manga for sure.
It's Monday morning quarterbacking across the board. That's the idea, basically.
Right. And the bill I will give them, and I said this because I recorded a video on this myself. The bill I will give them is that depending on what time you get introduced or read a character, you're going to have a different varying version of that character. And one of the main factors I bring up is Steve. I think it's Steve Didio. I know Didio is his last name. I think it's Steve. He was a former editor-in-chief at DC. And he was widely known for two things.
Dan Didio?
Dan Didio. I said Steve Didio. Dan Didio. I'm sorry. He was known for two big things. One, the nigga hated Nightwing. He hated Dick Grayson with a burning passion. And he made sure that he didn't like, he made it known that he didn't like heroes being in relationships. So during the New 52 run, what did he do? He made sure Dick Grayson wore red. He made sure he tried to kill off Dick Grayson multiple times. And people were like, let's not do that, because why? But he ended up, I'm pretty sure he was behind the fact that Dick at one point got shot in the head, lost his memory, and became Rick Grayson, and pretty much like stopped being Nightwing. He made it a point to where Green Arrow and Black Canary almost damn near never met during the New 52. So like he and his decision for stuff when he's running things can alter a lot of people's perception of who Dick Grayson is. If you come in and learn about Dick Grayson during that era of comic books, you're probably going to think Dick Grayson is ass. And if you come in during the era of like Teen Titans or the Batman animated series or Young Justice, you're going to see Dick Grayson and be like, oh, he's the coolest motherfucker in the world, because these are stories that feature him doing cool shit. So I will give him that in regards to fans that are, again, they're still relatively casual, but because they've seen or taken in certain pieces of this literature, they feel as though they know everything. But for people that read the source material and have read a bunch of different versions of Dick Grayson, you have all the context to understand that this character probably isn't the most accurate to who he is consistently. This is a particular person's take on the character, not the median of everything. And from the aspect of the media thing, because to Otis's point, the casual aspect of it, it's not. I don't like people looking at a show or movie and feeling as though they know everything about a character. If you watch Zack Snyder's Superman and believe you have the best understanding of who Superman is as a character, you're going to be gravely mistaken. That's just, it is what it is. If you watch Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies and believe that is the only version of Spider-Man, or that is the version of Spider-Man, you're probably going to be mistaken. It is what it is. So I always encourage, please just read the source material. I'm not saying, do you have to read 15 different thousand issues of Spider-Man to be a fan of the character? No, you can just watch the show and be a fan of the character. But can I say, me as a comic book reader am a bigger comic book fan than you? Yes, I can say that, because I actually read. I do the thing. I do the hobby that I claim to talk about. I don't just watch I'm not gonna jump on this man 2 weeks in a row.
You get it worked out.
I'm not gonna watch Captain Diesel's video on Icon and feel like I know everything there is to know about Icon now. I'm gonna try to read the fucking the source material to some extent.
So there's a few things here that we had to keep in mind. One, I'm not sure. I don't know anything about those guys. Never seen them before in my life, so I'm not sure if they are hardcore fans of comic books or manga or things of that nature, or if they are more film fans, if they're more casual. I don't know where they fall. And that's perfectly fine. I don't have to know. One thing they did bring up, though, was the idea. They said something as far as, if you do, process, if you do consume a lot of comic books or manga, that type of stuff, you may get lost in the sauce as hard trying to keep up with what the characters actually are. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know anyone that's ever like read a whole bunch of comics or manga, and because they read so much, they get confused on what the character actually is. Like you said, Dev, lots of different writers over the years. You gotta remember, these characters have been around for so many decades, if not longer. There have been so many iterations of them and there are lots of them do vary a lot. They are not the same in the same hands. Scott Snyder's take on Batman is very different from Frank Miller's take on Batman and so forth. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. So if you are a person who first is introduced to these characters, like say for example Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is very different from anything that they did back in the day. That Ditko and them did back in the day with the character. Also very different from the next director that did him for the Amazing Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is very different from Tobey Maguire, who's very different from Tom Holland. That's the point. So even if you are armed with all kinds of comic book knowledge or cartoon knowledge, the adaptations they have in the film or whatever else, there's going to be some variations of them, and that's okay. You don't have to get punished for that. However, if you want to be a fan of the actual comic book characters, yeah, of course you need to read the comic books. You need to know who they actually are. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't like the idea of criticizing or condemning anyone for their knowledge of what they have. If you don't know something, that's fine. But don't pretend that you do. If you like what you like, that's perfectly fine. But don't condemn someone else for liking what they like. I myself, y'all know this. I'm not a fan of the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, but I know that Charlie is. Perfectly fine. More power to you. I would never condemn Charlie for his take. Y'all, I know that I love Thor Ragnarok. Y'all hate it. That's perfectly fine. Y'all wouldn't come at me or kill me because of my take. That's how it is.
I mean,
maybe for that one, but otherwise,
and Fairy Tale, but that's totally different.
That's understandable. But it is I think, like you said too, Dev, gatekeeping. There are tons of, I know myself personally. Back in the day, I would go into a comic book shop, and someone who's seen a movie for whatever it might be during the MCU heyday would come in there, a complete noob would come in there trying to get into comic books, and someone would say, "How dare you?" would come at them for being a complete noob in the comic book shop. And I hated gatekeepers. Like, you want more people to come into this world to see these things. Give them a chance. Don't ever try to shoo somebody away. Let them experience it for themselves.
Yeah, I won't ever say that gatekeeping isn't a thing anymore. I think at this point I feel like I hear too many stories of it, especially from the women that go through this, to be like, yeah, it still exists. I think maybe just because I'm a very large individual, people don't try me like that. Because I'm not going for that. But it's interesting. And to your point too, with like the movie stuff, I do feel like there is a subsection of fans, and I do think this is a two-pronged issue in regards to, one, the OD super comic nerds that try to gatekeep the stuff, and then two, I do think there are a subset of fans that watch and read everything possible from YouTube videos to shows, if like they understand what everything going on, not understanding that those versions are new or those versions are accurate. I think the most infamous one I see, I think my boy JP Number brought it up, was when Batman 89 came out and they showed Jack Napier killing Bruce's parents. Everybody assumed, oh yeah, Joker killed his parents. No. Joker has never killed his parents in the comics. It's always been Joe Chill. It's always been a unanimous thing from beginning to end. That's never changed.
Anonymous, they know it was for a long time too. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's never this. We've always known, and so, as long as we've known the killer, or know the name of the killer, it's always been Joe Chill. But people will take that movie and run with it and feel like, okay, it has to be that way in the comics, right? Because this thing is a 1-to-1. People, again, understand. 9 times out of 10, when you read a comic book movie or watch a show, it's an adaptation. It's not a 1-to-1 adaptation like an anime. And even then, I feel like in some anime things, like depending on the show, they'll change certain things up based on the plot, like the ending or whatever it may be, for the sake of the show itself. So yeah, this again, please read the source material.
And it's okay. It's okay. I think it's too. I mean, all it does is it broadens your horizon. So, for example, the first Spider-Man movie with the one that Sam Raimi did, with Tobey Maguire, there's a big thing that bothered me and my brother when we saw it, was the fact that, this dude, Dev and Otis, you guys saw it. Spider-Man shoots webbing from his hands organically.
Yeah.
Because part of it shows the intelligence of Peter Parker that he's able to design the web shooters. Also, it makes it he has to always put cartridges in there. And so for them to remove that entirely, I was like, that's a weird choice. It bothered me a lot. But I get it. For lots of folks, that was their first impression of Peter Parker and Spider-Man, was that movie. And for them, that was it. That's what they thought was the actual story. It wasn't, but it worked for them. And it's fine. I'm not going to go after them. If they asked me, I'd say, well, that's why I didn't like it, but so forth and so on. And again, I do think on lots of fronts, adaptations are going to have to be something will be different. That's how it goes. Even when your boy, Bob Kirkman, when he adapted Invincible recently to the animated series, he made some changes. For example, they made it very clear that Mark's mom was Korean, I guess, because it's Sandra Oh, right, playing her.
Yeah, she's Korean.
She's Korean. Yeah. In the comic book, I don't think it was meant to be that clear that she was Korean.
I mean, you could tell pretty much. I mean, I gotta look at I got a trade back here somewhere for it. In my mind, she was, but
it's fine if she was
the show first.
Yeah, But I mean, regardless, it's one of those things that they made some other choices too, as far as making Amber black and everything else. They made some updates and some other changes, whatever it might be. That's perfect. Also, Amber's a very different character as far as she's a lot more toxic in the book. Anyways, but the point is, artists oftentimes themselves, when they do get a chance to kind of revise their own story, so to speak, over time, they'll make some changes as well. So they'll update things themselves. It happens. So it's I don't like the idea that anything is so sacred that if you make any changes to it, that it's blasphemous. Because over time, everything does get updated, and oftentimes it can be for the better.
And you can say you love your favorite version of Spider-Man or Batman. At this point, if you love Assassin Spider-Man, is probably my favorite Spider-Man. He's the coolest fucking Spider-Man in my mind. I think he's the best designed suit. I can hold you. The Assassin Spider-Man suit, outside of like the Iron Spider suit, those are the coolest ones to me. Or even the superior Spider-Man, I thought was pretty dope, where Doc Ock was in his body. Those are nowhere near who the character is at his core, but there are versions of it that I love. Absolute Batman now, vastly quickly approaching my favorite version based off of what I love as a nerd fan, like the horror aspects of it, how he's not rich. Like that was a whole thing with DCKO where he actually met like the OG version. He called him Rich Boy and was beating on his ass. I was like, pure cinema. Great. This is why I love this version. But
his mom's alive?
Yeah, and his mom, I almost spoiled some shit. Because hey, if you haven't read the recent issue with Poison Ivy being introduced, nigga, read that shit. Okay. Pure fucking cinema. Oh my God.
But it is a very, very different, like you said, all those things are very different than the takes. Pretty much every other take of Batman, more or less, except for like Gaslight, whatever. But
yeah, and it's bringing everybody into the frame regards to loving like his comics again. It's about this particular run and the rest of the run surrounding it and absolute stuff brought an entire generation of fans in. And for a lot of generation of fans, they're going to think this is their Batman. This is their Batman. This is their version of Batman. And again, it's not wrong for them to enjoy the character like that. But don't act like you're an extensive authority on this character or that you are, again, that you're better than somebody else because you read all of Absolute Batman, but none of the new 52 Batman stuff or none of the Killing Joke or the Death in the Family or whatever it may be.
But let me ask you this then too, Dev, and Otis as well. If someone like an OG like me, someone who grew up watching the OG Batman the Animated Series, right, hasn't heard of or read any Absolute Batman, and they of course find out what the character's like, and he's actually friends with when he was a kid, was friends with all the Rose Gallery, and things are very different. And they're like, "What is this nonsense?" If they're pushing back against that, would you be surprised? Because for them, that isn't their Batman. For their Batman is a very different character.
Yes, because then I ask you, were you not surprised when you watched the Adam West Batman and he had bat shark repellent spray?
I mean, and that's the thing too. There are cats who grew up in the '60s watching that, and they like that too. So I mean, it's every generation has their story, you know. Yeah, I get it. That's why I can't fault anybody for liking what they like, really, because it's like there's so many different takes when it comes to most of these characters. So many different takes, you know.
Otis,
enjoy things at your level. You know, I mean, if you are a person that enjoys comic book stuff from the movies and animated stuff, that's fine. You know, that does make you any lesser of a fan. But when someone more knowledgeable of the character is talking, like, shut up and listen.
Hey, as simple as that. I ain't gonna hurt you. Again, you can insert your opinion, when it's there on like what you enjoy. But again, I don't know. I feel like it's, again, to your point, it's not even just like comics. It's like nerd. I think it's not even just nerd. To your point with basketball, it's like that as well, where people can never enjoy their opinion. They have to feel like their opinion is the opinion. So then you're going to like downplay something else to make your opinion seem more valid or your credentials seem more valid. With sports, especially with basketball, it's like, oh, you didn't play. Well, I've watched NBA players that have played their entire life have the dumbest and incorrect takes and opinions on basketball all the time. People that you could argue are some of the top 5 to ever touch a ball have had very horrible fucking opinions on basketball because they're not consuming it in the way that everybody else consumes it. You're only viewing this thing from one perspective. But that doesn't mean you're a supreme idea on it. Again, we covered Jim Lee in his conversation around how he perceived Western comics. Jim Lee is as tenured as anyone else can ever be in comics. But the nigga had a pretty bad take that, again, or you could say it's motivated by different like business stuff in regards to him not wanting to promote other indie publishers. But my nigga, indie publishers that you worked with authors and writers and editors you worked with in the past are right across the hall. So it's kind of interesting that that people can never just enjoy or say what they enjoy. It's always I have to shit on the next thing to make my thing seem better.
Yeah, and I think also it's like you hit the nail on the head as far as making sure you understand that it is you're expressing your opinion, not the gospel truth. Everyone's allowed to express how they feel, and I think that's when we have the best discourse is when we're able to talk to each other like actual people, as opposed to condemning over and over again when someone else has their take. Let someone speak their truth.
Right. Like fuck Cyclops, raggedy bastard.
Every chance you get, you pop off on Cyclops or Captain America or both.
You know what? Cap's growing on me as time goes on. I'm not as mad at Cap anymore. Chris Evans is kind of saving a lot of that PR for me.
Chris Evans, glad Chris Evans gets some heavy lifting.
But it's still fuck Cyclops though. That's never going anywhere. Cyclops?
I mean, I know he's in the comics. He's a massive long story in the comics.
No, I can run down the laundry list of things if we want to do that.
But he's a very interesting character, though. He's a very interesting character.
But there isn't like a comic character that don't have dirt on their name in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
That's what makes him
to that extent, not to that level.
That's what makes it interesting.
Well, you probably say Spawn, but to this level, nah. Buddy is the contradictory to his entire existence. Contradictory to every. I mean, well. If you read like the ending of like the newer, I don't know if it's like a continuation of the OG series, but it's the stuff where you find out what actually happened and what his actual relationship with Wanda was after he becomes God. No, I was also about Spawn. That makes you look at the character a lot differently. But with Cyclops, no, that nigga like literally is just a big hypocrisy in regards to what he believes, at least for most part. Honestly, again, I'll say this now too. A lot of the newer versions of Cyclops are making me enjoy the character more because he's acknowledging all the fucked up shit he's done in the past. He's taking a lot of accountability for it. Because a lot of
he's at a. But let's call a spade a spade. Yes, he does some crazy shit. But he's had a fucked up life, man. All men have fucked all of them.
Life in Marvel.
I know.
Who hasn't had a fucked up life?
I know.
What mutant hasn't had a fucked up life?
I'm right there with you. That's what I'm saying. They're all fucked up. All of them are fucked up.
But most of them haven't done half. Okay, so. Off topic, I know we're getting into a major tangent now.
We get into it. Okay.
Major tangent at this point. My main issue is, especially with a lot of different versions of Cyclops, well, not even versions, the specific instances that I've been into him in, when you're looking at some of the bigger titles that he's been in, whether it be the Krakoa era, whether it be Avengers versus X-Men, whether it be a lot of early stuff in regards to like the original like Phoenix Force stuff, or the Dark Phoenix saga. His brother is really self-indulgent in regards to he's only doing things out of the best benefit of himself. First and foremost, the nigga, my girl dies, cool. I'm gonna marry this woman that looks like her, have a child, and run off and retire from being the X-Men. Get one phone call saying, "Oh, your girl's back." Nigga, fuck my wife, fuck my child, I'm back. My gene is back, nigga, fuck my family.
That's an oversimplification of how that went down.
Is that not what happened?
You know, it was not a simple phone call. I'm done. It was a very
nigga. You're right. He didn't even say anything to Madeline prior.
Oversimplification.
She didn't even know that nigga left. She didn't know he left, brother.
You are.
It was like, where's this nigga at? And that nigga is actually like 30 minutes later.
But even with that, he was getting played. He was getting played too. As far as, I mean, what would you do? He thought it was his love of his life.
You married and had a child with. That's what I'm expecting you to do.
This guy.
But you fell in love and had a whole child and married this woman.
He did.
With your wife. And she looks like she's a literal clone of the. So I'm like,
that's the thing. It was as far as he knew, it was his wife. It was the love of his life.
Well, no, no. He didn't know. He found out his Madeline was a clone later on. Initially, he fell in love with Madeline because she kind of just looked like Jean.
That's right. No, that's right. He thought it was a different person.
A whole different woman after you already got over your girl being gone. And was like, my girl back, nigga, please.
But I don't think he left. I don't think it wasn't he left. I'm up. I never coming back. He was like, I need to figure out what's going on.
I'm gonna find the panel again. The panel is like him at the phone, picking up the phone call and let him know what was going on.
Yes.
And then the next panel is this nigga like in a plane,
Blackbird,
in an X-jet, and you see Madeline hold the baby like looking at the phone, dangling like, what the fuck?
I think he's going to see what's going on. Not like I'm never coming back. I'm abandoning my family forever. It's like what's it about? What's happening here? That's how I took it to mean.
The nigga left Madeline.
Yeah, but he can come back. You can leave and come back.
No, you can't leave your wife and come back with your ex. Please try that. Please get married and be like, hey babe, My ex over
No.
here coming. I'm just gonna see what she on real quick. I'm gonna come back.
But again, I am not going to sit here and say that he's a good dude for doing that. I'm never saying Cyclops is a good dude. No, in general, he's not a good dude. He's a complicated character that has all. And also, he's done good things too. He's obviously led the team numerous times. You mentioned Avengers with X-Men. The whole Krakoa was crazy. House of M was crazy.
Leaders.
House of M. I mean, even with Professor X, for example, we all know Professor X is a bit of a shit show. He wouldn't do that kind of stuff the most. So, anyways,
I think two things can be true.
About everybody.
Yeah, two things can be true. They're right there. They're neck and neck. Him and Cyclops are neck and neck. That's he his daddy's son for sure. Because keep in mind all the shit that he was mad at Xavier for doing and called him out on during the past in regards to having a clandestine X-Men team to do fucked up shit, hiding stuff from his team, doing crazy shit. He continued to do that shit during the era where he was a leader, where he legit set up the X-Force to carry out assassinations like behind the back of the original X-Men team. The nigga got hella people murdered, did this whole war with the Avengers for what? Like, the nigga Cat wasn't about the murder. What was her name? I'm blanking on her name. Hope Summers. Nigga Cat was gonna murder Hope Summers, but she started this entire war for that. This nigga was partially responsible for giving this nigga Namor the Phoenix ability to then flood Wakanda. Granted, Namor did that, but part of the reason this nigga Namor even had the Phoenix abilities is because you brought that nigga into the fold. You started the Phoenix 5.
No, the Phoenix 5 were badass though. But again, I mean, Namor is his own. We're getting so far off topic. It's not even funny. But again, we're getting there's Namor's not. By the way, Namor is nowhere near a good dude either. Let's be clear about that too.
If I put a gun in your hand and you go on a murdering spree, I'm still partially responsible for that murder.
Fair, yes. I see what you're saying as far as culpability. Yes, of course. But again, what I'm saying is everyone is a fucked up individual in the Marvel universe, man.
Who else on the X-Men team? I mean, I give you Wolverine because that nigga Wolverine is another despicable human being. But outside of Wolverine,
I would say Jean Grey is pretty fucked up too.
Outside of her being literally brainwashed into a different person or being controlled by a celestial. Well, keep in mind, we find out during the Dark Phoenix saga that wasn't even her. That was just the fucking Phoenix.
That was such retcon. You're getting into retcon.
Even without the retcon, she's being possessed by a cosmic entity.
Yes. Yeah, yes, it is. But it's still, I mean, the character, and also Jean herself is toxic as well. I mean, it's a whole, that's the point though. It's messy. It's meant to be a drama.
Had nothing to do with creating a love triangle between her, Logan, and Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know the nigga is prone to. Keep in mind, the nigga got Jean back and then proceeded to have a mental affair with Emma Frost at the same time.
Emma Frost, yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure this nigga also cheated on her with Psylocke as well. When your nigga's a habitual cheater, it's like, nigga,
I'm not defending that. I'm not defending that.
You both toxic at that point, but also keep in mind, Cyclops did everything he did out of his own volition, out of his own decisions.
He's a troubled individual, but he's compelling. He's an interesting character, man. I think he's interesting. That's all I'm
Two things can be true.
I
never said he was a boring character.
No, you did not. You did not. I mean, Walter White on Breaking Bad is a very, very interesting character. Is he a good dude? No. Is he an interesting character? Yes. That's why I enjoy watching Cyclops, because it's never boring with that dude. It is like, whoa, yeah.
But yeah, that's my little rant on Cyclops. I need to do like a full Cyclops rant video at some point. I just want to
how did that happen?
It would take a lot of time, a lot of effort, and me going back to reread a lot of X-Men stuff.
Yeah,
I'm already behind on my reading with like the Icon video because I stopped everything else I was reading to read 27 issues of Icon, and I had to make myself stop so I could catch up on what I was reading beforehand. So I don't know. I'll probably end up doing it at some point. I get a breather, maybe December.
It's a lot more issues than 27.
Do the Cyclops files.
Yeah, it's like a lot more issues than that. So that's fair.
But yeah, my bad. Next topic, because that did not mean for that tangent to be.
We got to cut that part out just have the Cyclops rant.
Jesus Christ, Otis, you want to propose your topic?
Yeah, just lately I've been scrolling through, Facebook again. I've been away for a little bit because, niggas are stupid. Came back after, the new season of Jujutsu Kaisen started, and I've just been seeing the most asinine death battle combinations physically possible. And I'm just like, Do you guys actually like when you're making these battles? Is it just because you like are fans of the characters and you want to see what other people's opinions are? Because it can't be because you like actually want to be like making good matches. Like that can't be the goal because you don't. Like just because Sakamoto and Maki, have cool looking things that they do with their hands does not mean that they should be put in a match against each other, right? Because Sakamoto fights people and Maki fights basically demons. So
yeah.
You can't.
I think this is the concept that we talked about before as far as media literacy and people not understanding. People not having like a really big understanding of just like science as a whole, let alone like scope and scale. I think you're just seeing Sakamoto like catch bullets with chopsticks or him do crazy physical tasks or feats. And then you equate that to Maki doing what she was doing because she does physical traits. It's like, oh, 1-to-1, right? And not applying the context around that. Or also, I think people just aren't, again, they're not watching the source material. They're seeing scenes and kind of moving off those scenes.
Yeah, and I think what it is, I'm not sure which death battle that brought this. There's the main death battle that everyone knows that where they actually do all kinds of research as far as crazy amounts of research. That's not for a half hour. They show you all the things they do. They had Sakamoto one time go up against Popeye, and the whole idea is they both are meant to be joke characters, and they break their universes over and over and over again. So the idea of Sakamoto fighting Maki. Maki's a character very much defined in her universe. Her powers are limited to her universe. She does what she does. There are restraints, but she's able to fight against them. No pun intended. That's the whole basis for her character. Sakamoto, One Punch Man. That's the whole point. Is he has no limits. He's just a joke, a gag, a whole point. There's no fight. So it's a weird scenario.
That's part of why I've always hated like death battles. Ever since this nigga Otis first sent me an invite to the NWN group like years ago, one of the first things I ever saw and interacted with as like a new person to like the blurred internet sphere was the death battles. Because I think everybody's had the conversations about who will win growing up as a kid. Like you always had those conversations. But seeing like one, how vehemently like enthusiastic a lot of these grown men were about these battles where like they will call you outside of your name. Keep in mind at this point, I'm like 17, 18. I'm being called everything but a child of God in the comment sections. And I'm just asking questions like, nigga, I don't even know what you're talking. I don't know. I've watched Death Battle, but I'm not sure what the hell you're trying to talk about. Because what I realize is people do two things. They either, because their favorite character does not match up against a character they hate. Like, let's say I wanted to say that who's a really like bad fighter in fucking Marvel?
Booster Gold. Oh, Marvel.
Oh, DC works too. Let's say I wanted to have Booster Gold in a versus battle with fucking Cyclops, right? I very much so understand Cyclops is a better hand-to-hand combatant. This nigga's optic beams are a little bit stronger than this nigga. But what I then do is, I'm going to add caveats and depower Cyclops as much as I can to give Booster Gold as much of an advantage in this fight as possible. So I then can say, Booster Gold wins. But then at the end of the day, what was the point of that then? If I have to depower this character so much so for him to lose, what am I saying about this character? Mm-hmm. Or it's, if a character's whole thing is him, like I've seen this with Daredevil a lot, where his whole thing is he's blind and he hears things through like, the echolocation, whatever it may be. All right, let's put him in a fighting location that just like neutralizes all of that or puts him at a disadvantage. Why? What are we doing here? We're not getting, in my mind, the death battle should be giving you the ability to explore a character's full kit more so than someone who didn't know about the character before. So that's like, right. For me, one of the my favorite death battles I ever watched was part of the That's Happened tournament back in the day, where somebody did Bronze Tiger versus, I think it was Bronze Tiger and Black Panther versus like Batman and maybe Daredevil or no, Snake Eyes.
Or maybe Nightwing or something.
It was Snake Eyes. And I enjoyed that one in particular because I had no idea, one, how strong of a hand-to-hand combatant Bronze Tiger was. I'd seen him in a few different things, but I hadn't read any of his comics. So seeing his feats, I'm like, he's really fucking cool. He beat up this person or beat that person. Let me go read a Bronze Tiger comic now and see what he looks like. Or, hey, fucking Snake Eyes has decapitated a whole Decepticon with a regular sword. I should probably go read more Snake Eye G.I. Joe comics because that's cool as fuck. That's what that's for in my mind. Like giving people that aren't familiar with these characters a experience to where they can like be inspired to go check out this character more. But because people's egos and their favorites are so intertwined in these death battles, they just end up making them toxic things that just aren't fun at the end of the day. Because you just want your favorite character to win. You're not okay with him taking the L.
Yeah. That's what usually happens. Yeah, the ones that have like I think it's a screw attack, what have you. Those where they actually do so much research. It's like it's stupid how much research they actually do. Those ones they are trying to actually do have the actual characters in their peaks, trying to have them actually do their abilities. So I'm not saying they're perfect, but it does show the math. It shows they explain why they get to where they get to.
Well, they have the same issue everybody else though, because they have a lot of pseudoscience. Like they have a lot of like measurements that are either made up or that are never used. And then two, they have obvious biases towards certain characters that they make it apparent, like they maybe make jokes out of it. The whole Goku series versus everybody else versus Superman thing. Superman, like 3 times just to fuck with fans and be like, oh yeah, Goku new form, cool. He still loses no matter
Superman
what.
Over and over again.
And that's like maybe he has a better chance or maybe he does win, but because that's where their opinion is and where it's set on and they want to troll fans, they're like, all right, cool.
But I think that's
I'm not saying it for sure. I'm just saying niggas have their biases. Like,
no, that's the truth.
Cyclops is never winning in a versus tournament with me, nigga. I don't give a fuck.
That's fine, and that's fair. But I think what it is though too is like that's gonna happen because it's the same old idea as far as like my dad beat your dad. Why? Because he's my dad.
Right.
People are gonna find ways to make things make sense for them, and it's even with Screw Attack, for example. They do all this math, but they do crazy math on certain things. Like where'd that come from? So it's kind of like who would think that random is? Huh? So you're gonna find ways. A good lawyer will find a way to make the law work in their favor. It's the same thing when it comes to any kind of a death battle. You're gonna find a way to make your character win in a fight. They shouldn't win.
All right. No, let me ask you, how do y'all feel about those death battles involving like god tier characters, the reality warpers? Yeah.
It's hard to define time because you can make an argument that anything can happen and then the other one can undo anything that they do. So like, what's the point of even having a conversation? Like, it's not even going to be a fight. It was just like, okay, who can out concept each other at the most?
Yeah.
Ethan, you were cutting out pretty bad, so we like didn't know if you. Never mind. He'll be back.
Yeah. I think it is the most like. Who cares which reality warper is the stronger reality warper? Reality is getting warped regardless.
Right. Once you start ranking up feats and abilities and you're like, oh, he's immortal. He's immortal. He changes reality. He changes reality. Oh, he's a god. He's not technically God, but he's stronger than God and has killed a whole god pin. It's okay, cool. We're to your point, we're ideating this whole battle that is not going to make any sense whatsoever, just for the sake of like saying we did it.
No, it's a dick measuring contest with power fantasy. That's legit. All it is.
It's even worse because there's a group I'm in. Shout out to Indie Character Breakdowns. Lloyd does a great job of setting up his power, his scaling power system that he has set up for that. But there'll be certain people where they'll have their indie character. And then again, this is no shade to any creator whatsoever. This is just something I've noticed where people will have a character who is god level abilities, which is a whole conversation around like what every character has to be a god, literally, or have powers of a god. But they'll be in a battle and they'll be like, oh, because they don't want their character they wrote to lose, they'll be like, oh, well, he's immune to that now. Or he has this thing to where he can't die to this certain thing, so it makes that irrelevant. I'm like, you're not even making it fun anymore because you're making your character, your character has a lot of issues that a lot of writers have with Superman to start with, where he's just too strong. What kind of stakes can you put up? What kind of things can you have happen that aren't just plot circumstance at that point? If he has no kind of weakness or no inability anywhere to be exploited.
It's just it's the same thing that I kind of hate about a lot of different shonen when they just basically remove stakes from the combat, where like oh yeah, like prime example, time I was reincarnated as a slime.
Man, not too much my boy Rimuru, man. Too much my boy Rimuru, man.
It's a cool show, but he's never gonna actually like
truly
lose because great sage is going to discover what the ability is, and then he's just gonna find a way to level himself up by either absorbing something or absorbing something. Bottom line.
That's why I loved early Naruto so much, because they embraced the fact that these characters had weaknesses and inabilities or things that they weren't strong at. We understand Naruto isn't the most diverse in his his jutsu pool, or that he's not able to use certain types of jutsu, or his chakra control is pretty bad. All right, cool. We're just going to let him be excellent and abuse what he is good at. We know he has a ridiculous chakra pool. Cool. Summon 10,000 shadow clones and just overwhelm people. All right, cool. He's learned to master one jutsu. Cool. To give him 15 variations on this one jutsu. Now it gets to a point to where all that is thrown out the window, to where he can do whatever the fuck he wants, but he just still chooses to do that. Cool. Or even when I'm looking at like early Kakashi, where he has the Sharingan, right? Or we can say early Kakashi as well, where it's like, okay,
let's not talk about the fraud. Let's not talk about the fraud.
I mean, we want to talk about frauds. We can get into Itachi. We can get into frauds.
I mean, Kakashi's more
Mr.
fraud
Broken
than Itachi.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know, brother. But he's getting all kinds of just like random broke. Like, let's put this into perspective, right? This man he's given. Keep in mind, he's given the Mangekyo Sharingan dead near, in regards to his friend sacrificing himself in front of him without him actually having to do the thing, so him to unlock this next level of ability. And then when he gets his special abilities through his Mangekyo Sharingan, he gets a thing that one is the Susanoo, which is like an impenetrable defense. Then he gets a Yata Mirror given to him, which is another impenetrable defense that you literally can't break. And then he has a Tosca Blade, which seals anything it touches. So like literally this nigga has the most impenetrable defense and the unstoppable offense given to him. When we're told he's this prodigy. Cool, he's a prodigy, but how did he get this level of strength? Just like he didn't have to develop those techniques.
Kakashi,
and then we have... go ahead.
Kakashi is literally known as the copy ninja, and that was given to him by his friend. Like,
but we
learn that he was just, I got crushed by a boulder here.
The great thing about that, though, is that he has that, and he knows as soon as he got that, it had inabilities. Like we know that he had difficulty using it first and foremost because he didn't have the chakra pull for it. So he had to learn how to manipulate and operate around it. He became great. And that's part of why I love him and other characters like that. That's part of why Lee is so great for a lot of different people, is because, yes, he is OD broken in certain aspects, but that's only because he maximized his strengths and tried to minimize his weaknesses. When a character is just like given all the strengths and they have no weaknesses by default damn near, it's kind of like this tough thing of, all right, what stakes can I write around this character? Because at this point, it's just a matter of, like when Itachi was just a matter of, okay, timing the fight out. If you can outlast this nigga, you can win a fight for the most part. But then that never came into play too often outside of the Sasuke fight for the most part. Like you saw that he
fought Sasuke in what's his name?
Kabuto. Yeah. And then even with the Kabuto fight, that didn't really even matter because the nigga's a unlimited chakras out. So it's, again, that's funny.
We saw what he did to Kakashi, who should have known exactly who he was dealing with, but somehow walked right into the best genjutsu users genjutsu.
I mean, granted, when you walk around and you shitting on people for like when you get a whole nickname being like Kakashi of the Sharingan, you probably think, nigga, I ain't seen Buddy since he was like 14, since I was like 10. But I'm that nigga now.
But that's the biggest thing right there, right? You talking about Kakashi he was Kakashi the copy ninja.
The copy ninja, yeah.
And he only copied one person throughout the entire series.
That's another thing, yeah. I mean, he used other. Like, I think during the Zabuza fight, I saw him use random jutsu, like the motor wall stuff. Like he used a lot of jutsu at that point. But that's a writing issue there, brother. Where you just like, and honestly, I can see how that happens. Where you like introduce so many concepts, you just forget about them as you're writing on. Like Toriyama forgetting about stands having tails during the Buu saga. And that whole thing, it's interesting.
Just real quick.
But Ethan, you back? We
I'm back. I make it.
Wait for you to get back.
Yeah, for some reason, Riverside's having issues with me, so it keeps telling me I'm about to lose connection. So if I dip out again, I'll try to get back in as fast as possible. All I was going to say was ultimately these fights should be entertaining above all else. If you have fun watching, if you have fun.
I know you fucking lying. I know you fucking lying. I know you fucking lying.
Right before the explanation could hit.
Oh, I wanted him to introduce the next topic, so at bare minimum we could get into the next topic before. But that's funny. Honestly, I kind of guess that does like segue into the topic, or his topic, because his topic was kind of around like the world building and power systems being built out. And I think getting into the Naruto conversation is a good way to start with that, for the aspect of, I think when that universe started, the power system and the scale to everything was pretty solidly like well thought out and put out, where you have, all right, Genjutsu users are probably going to have an advantage over certain types of other users who use certain types of jutsu or whatever it may be. Certain characters have certain jutsu that give them more advantageous positioning over somebody else. So everything felt very situational and very much so based on, can this ninja adapt to what their opponent is going to throw at them? And then after a while, it got into, okay, I have more chakra, I have bigger jutsu, you now die. Or my jutsu is more broken than yours. Mm-hmm. Like once we get into like the Amaterasu territory, where it's like, okay, flame that never stops burning until you die and can burn through everything. I'm like, in theory, it sounds cool, but it's literally busted because it's damn near on site. As long as I can track you with my eye, and then you just die outright immediately.
How do you ever miss with that? Because like it's what you're looking at. So like I see you, and then like
I think it's what you have to focus on. I think there's a difference between you seeing something and you being able to focus on something. So it's like if I like if I give you a chest pass, right, and I'm throwing the ball at you fast as fuck, if you're not ready for it, you're seeing the ball approach your face, but you're not focused on it enough for you to catch the ball and prevent it from smacking you in the face. It's kind of that's kind of how I perceived it, but that's my headcanon for it.
Have you like? There are shots of like niggas with a Sharingan looking around like real fast, like you just see the speed of their eyes. Like if you outmaneuvering that, you got it. You deserve to win the fight. Actually,
I mean, when you got dudes moving at light speed, I mean,
but there's nobody light speed in Naruto.
Naruto.
He's not light speed.
I caught just the very tail end of what y'all talking about Naruto.
We use that to segue into your power skilling or your power universe building situation.
Sure. I may be here for a minute or maybe here for 5 seconds. So I'll go ahead and say it real quick. All I was going to say was that ultimately, that's why it's important for you to design a good, coherent power system, at least within your story. Death battles kind of are flawed because you're trying to combine power systems that weren't made to be with each other. Mm-hmm. Having Superman fight Goku, Saiyans aren't designed to fight Kryptonians. Is a different world. It doesn't make what are you doing? We're talking about. So the idea of a good power system where actually within the confines of that, you guys are talking about Naruto. I'm guessing Naruto has a pretty good power system. It gets pretty complicated, but for the most part, it starts well, and
then it kind of gets into this whole thing.
Yeah, initially there were checks and balances, like styles conflict, but then it was like, like Charlie said, like I have more chakra than you, and then it got to the point where like you having more chakra than me doesn't matter because like I now absorb chakra. So now you gotta now you gotta throw these hands.
Even with Toriyama and DBZ got real messy pretty quick. So yeah, power system can be a real nightmare. But if you're able to do one of the best ones, of course, is in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure with the stands, how it becomes very much like a chess match to where different stands are designed to always win, or not always win. Different stands are designed to always do what they're going to do. Regardless of what you have, it can't do certain things. And regardless of how powerful you are, against a different stand, it just doesn't matter. Nin in Hunter x Hunter is the same way. Fullmetal Alchemist has one of the best philosophies of all time. The idea of law of equivalent exchange, I always like that. Of course, one of my favorite systems that's more recent is from JJK, the idea of how curses work. I know it gets crazy. But one thing. Let me put out one thing before you drop it. Before I get booted out again by Riverside. One thing that I like about it is Gojo was set up to be this invincible god tier being, and multiple times you see him get taken down. by people using or exploiting the very system that's within that world. So if you have someone like Toji that has objectively no actual curse energy, but you give him the tools to actually fight against him, he's able to beat him in a fight, in a one-on-one fight. You give someone else the ability to put Gojo in a box. So even though he's all powerful in a box, he's trapped. Things like that are interesting or fun to watch. For example, no system is foolproof. But if you understand the rules of your system, my favorite fight in JJK is actually Choso versus Yuji in a bathroom. It's the idea of two guys of a hand-to-hand fight where a guy is used to using blood, but when blood gets wet, it's a lot more exploitive. And Yuji does that really well. He still loses the fight, spoiler alert, but it's a fun fight to watch with two guys that have their using their abilities to the fullest extent. So a good power system overall is very important. They'll never be foolproof, but they can be fun if done right.
JJK has a good power system in theory for me. I think it's at its basis, sure, but it kind of has a lot of the same issues that Naruto had in regards to it gets to a point to where, all right, I have more broken things than you. And I think Gojo is the prime example of that, because usually when Gojo loses, it's just because of his hubris. Because when you're looking at the 6 eyes and what's the other
Infinity technique?
Infinity, literally they are made to benefit one another and make him broken to where you cannot touch him and he can keep that barrier up for damn near as long as he wants to. So literally the only reason he loses is because he gets a fucking like cocky attitude and loses. And I'm like, okay, yes, I think that can work at times in regards to like you taking advantage of a character's their own hubris, their own ego. They're talking a character into acting outside of their body. Cool. But when that's how you lose every time, damn near, like even in I'm not going to spoil like the ending stuff.
Anime.
Otis knows what I'm talking about in regards to like that final fight he has where it's like, you lost like this, gang? Really? Is this how we're doing this? All right, cool. And I think on top of that, it has a lot of the issues to where, you know what? It doesn't do what Naruto does outright, because I think Naruto at a certain point just like forgets its damn power system. Because I think when certain characters JJK remembers and like will acknowledge that when you look in like most UG fights, or to your point, even with Maki to a certain extent, where they'll go into the aspect of like, all right, this person has more curse energy, but I have negative curse energy, which disrupts this or makes them do this certain type of thing. And those fights are good. It's when you have the broken character with the broken abilities, how do you write a good fight around that character? Outside of them just ore farming on everybody else. You can never write a stake for them because they can't get beaten unless you have to do that. And I think a lot of writers like write themselves into a corner and have to try to figure that out, which, again, prime example, Naruto with Madara, where it's like, all right, he's going to lose because Black Zetsu's here. Because realistically speaking, it's like, how do you make this fight in a way that's satisfying with him outside of Naruto and Sasuke just blitzing him? Which is, that probably would have been cool to see, but that fight still I would have had the best stakes because it was just them like outbroken abilitying each other like throughout the fight.
Well, I mean that's one thing too, is if you were able to do a proper plan and payoff, for example, with Superman, for example, the age-old example of the kryptonite. If Superman's weakness is always kryptonite to some extent, if you find a character to be able to get their hands on some kryptonite, there you go. Exploit that weakness. There you go. Something like that. If you have a character that's like Martian Manhunter with the whole idea of fire, he's extremely afraid of fire. You get someone their hands on fire around him, use that. In the example of Gojo, Satoru Gojo, his infinity technique or his technique is always on. So you get a character like Toji that's able to get near him with a weapon that's able to go through or is able to reverse the techniques that they're using while he has a sword in his hand. There you go. There are ways you can exploit the rules you've established, but as long as you're clear about why you're exploiting them or how you're exploiting them, I think it can still work. If you forget those things, like DBZ is the worst in my opinion, as far as like nothing matters anymore. It's just wherever it wants to be at the time, and powers come out of asses like crazy. I still love the show to pieces, but it's just bonkers for bonkers' sake. That's when it kind of gets a little murky in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot to unpack there. Starting with JJK, their power system is atrocious. It's just that they write their fights really well. That we just kind of like slide over the fact that their power system actually doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And you can essentially have a character that can do anything that they imagine at any time, but like the limitation is the fact that they're not Gojo.
You're not Satoru Gojo, so it doesn't matter. Fuck.
And then like so Gojo, he doesn't lose because strictly off of hubris. He loses because, well, it is partially that, but it's the fact that people beat him by coming up with a plan, and he is going strictly off of instinct and his just high level innate ability.
Mhm.
And I personally enjoy seeing stuff like that, like when somebody outplans like this the natural talent. It usually resonates for me. But it does, like, I mean, it can get repetitive, but I mean, Gojo only lost technically 3 times. So I
They're
mean,
bad losses, but yeah, but only 3. It's only 3 though, yeah. But if you think about this too, how many fights is that you actually? How many actual fights do you see him in too? That's what's so funny about it. Is like
quite a few.
he's regarded as like the OP master, but he's still like, if you have that many L's, 3 big L's, it's like, huh? I mean, he's
He's
first
kind of lost
episode
to
we see
everybody
him
else.
with a dub. I mean, he's like the whole first season. Like anytime he shows up, he's just literally ore farming on anyone he's fighting. Like he literally is in the middle of a fight. Says like, hold on, I'm gonna teleport to my man's so I can teach him how to fight.
How to fight? How does it
Because
work?
you're not a threat to me or him. You can't hurt him
with me as long as I'm around.
Right.
Yeah. As long as I'm around.
I will say too, because I don't want to make it seem like this is impossible to write a good like story or interaction around that. Because I look at something like The Boys, right, where you have a character in Homelander who has a very similar thing to where he's just stronger than any and everything that exists in that world for most of the show, until he gets to somebody that is as strong as him, that has more combat experience in the I'm gonna call that man Superboy and the Soldier Boy, where he gets
the Soldier Boy couldn't beat him either though.
No, it's to the point to where once he gets into an actual fight with somebody, he can't just walk through somebody. So now he's getting it's very apparent that like there's a scale here of like, oh, this person has battle experience, you don't. So he's shitting on you right now. He can't outrun it. I think it was some bullshit that he didn't outright kill him a couple of times.
Several. He did. Anytime he does this, yes, 100%.
Soldier Boy had him dead to rights. It was like, I just fly out last minute. But it made it very apparent that, like, this broken character, when as soon as he fights somebody on his level, he's at a disadvantage because he hasn't had to go through any kind of struggle or strife to learn how to be a better fighter.
How to fight.
Yeah. I think to a point we started with Vegeta to a certain extent with Dragon Ball, where he trained with Nappa from an early age, but he had never been on the losing side of a fight to like learn how to overcome a inadequacy in his combat. So when he matched up with Goku, hey, Goku's shitting on you. So what do? Man, fuck this shit. Great ape, nigga. What are we doing? I'm just
but that was and also even with
that's also Frieza's entire premise too.
Frieza,
yeah. But so one thing I've always wondered, maybe you can answer for me, why didn't Homelander just outright kill Butcher when he was sitting? He went to his house. They sat down at a table for I'm not sure. They had a conversation. Why didn't he just kill him? There's no reason not to kill him. He's right there.
It's a control thing. It's an ego thing. I want you to understand that I'm better than you. Because we saw through a lot of different instances, Homelander is no exception to just like killing somebody that's annoying him. But with Butcher in particular, it's the idea that he wants to mentally dominate him because he understands Butcher's not really scared of this man. Butcher could care less if he kills him or not. That's not going to satisfy him. He wants him to be like a broken person, which is why he's cool with him living.
He wants him to suffer more.
He knows that Butcher actually wants him to kill him, and he's just like, I'm not going to give you what you want. Like, I'm just going to torture you. Like, you're going to suffer.
Yeah.
That's fair. Again, I like that dynamic with them in particular. So I think you can write characters, because I think it also serves to be a form of satisfaction when that character's getting their comeuppance. So let's say in a situation where I guess The Boys is another example of it, to where let's say Yui gets like he's on the V again, right? And he's as strong as Homelander. Now we're seeing him shit on Homelander, and Homelander, let's say he's like crying out for fucking help. Now you even get more of a satisfaction at a Homelander death potentially because he's losing a fight to somebody who, one, is finally at his level, and then two, you understand, you are you're not who you say you are. Because you have an advantage over somebody else, you can bully, but you're not the big, strong person you think you are.
Right. In the even because I think in the show though, 'cause I know in the comic book they use the V. The boys themselves use the V from the start pretty much. They're always using the V.
Yeah,
But I think in the show, Huey's power wasn't. I think it was invisibility or something. It was something. Wasn't power like that. It was.
He had like super strength, and I
He had
think
super
that was.
strength.
Yeah,
I feel like he kept losing his clothes when he uses
I mean, like,
powers in the show. I can't remember.
yeah.
Can't remember. I know.
Every super has super strength to an extent to that show.
Something like that. But I know Butcher had the laser eyes, and he had strength too. Because there's a part where him and Soldier Boy are kind of like beating him, gonna beat down him and against Homelander. But one thing I'm gonna bring this up real quick before I get booted out again by Riverside. One thing that always a power that always kind of bothers me is it's really really hard to write the right way is super speed. Like for example, even A-Train in the boys, when the character can go that fast, can literally go at the speed of light, have you? It's like how can you really fight that? How can you slow them down? How can you keep up with them? How do you fight that? Because it's oftentimes in that story itself, it becomes wildly inconsistent. Like why are they going so fast you can't see them now, but then sometimes they go fast enough you can easily trip them without a problem. So it's that one is a power that it's always kind of bothers me.
The best way to write that, and I think how I would normally always write that, and what I've seen is you're not trying to inherently just like hit that person, but you have the battle IQ to understand that he has a limited space. So when I look at something like Invincible, right, where Omni-Man was fighting in Red Rush, he understands I'm not going to catch him, but he has to hit me, and if I can time him hitting me, I can catch him, and he's fucked. Or we're in a situation where I understand, cool, he can run around me in a circle, but if I can shrink the area that he has to run around in, rather that may be like destroying the arena or whatever it may be, now he only has so much room to run around me in. So it's more so manipulating the environment versus that individual per se, or maybe even predicting where they're going to be. So I think those, at least for me, those tend to be my favorite iterations of like manipulating a character. Because you see it a lot with teleportation as well, where it's the thing of like, I can't guess where they are or see, or I can't, like
I don't know where they are. I can see where they're going to go.
Yeah, I can predict where they're going to be at in that whole situation.
Yeah, and that's something that happened too. Even with Maki and Naoya, they made it clear that he has to use 24 frames per second, and how it's always he has to be where he plans on being. And Maki could tell, oh, you're gonna because of these frames, I can tell you're gonna have to be here, and I'm gonna use that against you. So yeah, that is a good point. If you're able to kind of essentially predict where the person's gonna be and make sure you're there, and make sure it doesn't destroy you hitting them at that speed, it can be fun to use. Yeah. I guess the thing that makes it a little odd is when the characters themselves that have that super speed don't use it to the fullest extent when they're inconsistent with their own powers or abilities. But that's I'm complaining.
It's when they have that speed but their reaction speed doesn't match up to the speed.
Yeah,
which is like and honestly, it's so inconsistent in so many different facets. Like, I mean, where people will have like crazy high speed, but they get hit by like something regular, and just like like Goku is supposed to be like basically light speed, but he gets shot through the chest by a laser.
I mean, I think it's just the idea of like your focus, and I think that's probably the most realistic aspect of it, especially looking at sports, right, where you're looking at somebody, let's say, I always go back to basketball just because I think Otis understands what I'm talking about when I'm with the basketball aspect of it. When you're looking at somebody, let's say like a Shaq, right, who is as strong as can be, and he never really gets moved that often. But because he's not engaged, you'll see moments in time to where Hakeem or David Robinson are legit just moving this nigga. Like, he's 300 pounds. He's heavier than them. He's probably stronger than them. But they know how to manipulate their way and catch him off guard in a way that he's not predicting, so he gets moved off his pivot. Yeah. When he's defending. Or even when he's on offense, yeah, you can't stop him, but we understand he's not going to be able to move laterally back and forth the best. So we're going to like try to make him move as much as possible to manipulate that.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair way to use. Like you're saying, as far as even with Gojo being distracted or him kind of having the hubris, I think accounting for a character's personality flaws is a fair thing to use in an actual story. I think that's the best thing you can use in a story is that type of stuff.
I think the best characters always have their abilities incorporated into their personalities. 100%. If you're somebody with over dominating power, you're going to be arrogant. You're going to 9 times out of 10 always overextend your hand because you just don't lose or you don't get tested that often. And if you're a character who is always like scared of death, you're going to be very weary of everything and be overly cautious of everything and be more of a tactician because you understand one mistake is my death.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of Batman versus like even Superman. Is that he has to plan 10 steps
Yeah.
ahead every time.
Somebody like
He goes to the past.
Shikamaru, right, from Naruto is a prime example where Buddy's not like the strongest, like physically wise. He's not out punching Neji. He's not out speeding Lee, but he understands, okay, cool, let me analyze this battlefield. You know what? We talked about the speed thing. I think Shikamaru is a perfect example of somebody who learns how to manipulate a battlefield exactly. When I'm looking at his tuning exam fight. Cool. That scenario in his tuning exam fight where Buddy is like, okay, cool. I understand I'm not going to outclass him in any form or fashion and speed or whatever it may be, but I know that my shadows and my manipulation of them is how I get around things. Let me drop this leaf and create a shadow behind this person to manipulate the battlefield. I think
he still lost that fight.
Yeah, he lost that fight. But he did beat the Immortal though. But that's understanding he's at a disadvantage, which honestly, I do think there's something we can talk about at some point too, is the idea of like people losing fights sometimes being as important, if not more important, than winning a fight.
100%.
I do feel like every time a character gets a power, it doesn't mean they shouldn't win a fight.
I think
I don't think all L's are created. I don't think all L's are created the same.
No, they are not. They're definitely.
You can get better from certain L's, but you still lost.
But I think having an L will make a win even more satisfying, depending on who it is and how it happens.
But what if you never get a win? Cough, cough, Rock Lee.
That's sad though. Yeah, that's bad writing. He should have won.
Then makes people root for you even more.
It does make you a super underdog, but yeah. But I think one thing too is that's how in real life too you learn oftentimes better from a loss than you do from a victory or a win. And if you write a character that has, if a character only wins over and over and over again, it becomes boring. Otis knows this. I told Charlie this before we started the show. I'm a big fan of Soul Leveling. It's great. Sanjay Woo's great and everything, but the earlier arcs are the best with Sanjay Woo when he's very close to losing or he's struggling still. Once he becomes a broken god to your being that can summon everything under the sun, it's like this is literally boring. So if you want to see your character struggle some.
When I look at Superman, I think the best and the most engaged, at least me and maybe all fans of the character have ever been, is around the death of Superman, right? To where we finally have a character in Doomsday who, with no scheme, no kryptonite, can just outright, with pure hands, murder this man. So even when he comes back from the death, we understand he is still liable to get murdered. So now we have actual scale, scope, and tension in a fight because Superman can die. And stakes matter. Stakes matter. Yeah, 100%. Because otherwise, it's like, all right, cool. It's just, can he out scheme Lex Luthor or get rid of this kryptonite somehow to win this fight? Because we know if this kryptonite's gone, it's over with immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but you gotta eventually get a W.
I don't think you have to. Honestly, I don't think you have to. Depending on the story, depending on the type of story you're trying to tell, I will say that. Yeah. I think you could end this series on a character taking the L, and that be a greater teaching moment sometimes than a character winning at the end of a story. They've
done it several times. Yeah, they've done it before. It happens all the time. Good tragedies, for example. Yeah, your boy Aaron Yeager took a massive L.
To get my respect, you have to at least have a W.
Fair enough. To get the big blurred muffins respect, W's are needed.
Right on.
A W.
And Kratos. Speaking of which,
Jiraiya.
What about Kratos? Kratos? He died.
Pantheon.
But yeah, but didn't he die while killing? Because he dies at the end. Well, no, he doesn't, because he comes back at the end. But.
I mean, the only time he died, to my knowledge, was in God of War 3 when Odin took his godly powers away from him by stabbing him with the
sword.
What was the name of that sword? Oh my god, the blade of Olympus. He stabbed him with the blade of Olympus. Yeah. And he went to hell and came back. Besides that, I know he's gone to hell twice, but I think he's only gone to hell once, like him actually dying, though, him being killed.
Yeah, I mean, Ares sent him back up after the very first time. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I was trying to remember if because I feel like Kratos did die, but I think one thing too that can make a story compelling is if a character, you all have seen Gladiator before, if a character dies for a noble cause or dies accomplishing the mission, so to speak. If you die killing off the big bad, or if you die saving someone that meant a lot to you, or what have you, or die saving the world, whatever it is, and that can work too. I mean, Iron Man you could say he took an L in Endgame, but he took the L for the greater good, so to speak.
But see, that's different. Like Iron Man fighting Thanos on Titan, that's an L. Him nuking himself to erase the Black Order and that army, that's not an L.
So mutually assured
No,
destruction.
it's not.
is
It's not
an L
L.
for you.
It's not an L. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. That's what I'm saying.
So,
Self-sacrifice can be really powerful.
Do you look at Vegeta killing himself against Boo as an L for Vegeta?
I mean,
question.
it definitely wasn't a W because Boo survived.
Fair enough. Yeah.
He did survive, but here's the thing. I guess it's a weird question. It's hypothetical. If Boo had died, would that have been a no? Because it's like the whole point is it's a noble sacrifice trying to kill off Boo. He's doing it to himself.
If he actually did like take out Boo there, then that's a W.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, though, but he dies too. They both die.
Right. But
so it's
no,
kind of
he's
like
the only one that dies, so that's why it's an L.
No, yeah, but I'm saying if his explosion had killed Boo, hypothetically, they both would have died. It's a draw in a sense, but also it's for the greater good.
I mean, he caused the death by intentionally sacrificing himself. So I personally would count that as a W.
Count the W's, okay.
Yeah, I think also, and again, we can talk about this at a later show. We don't want to get super deep into it. The idea of giving almost like a monkey's paw in a way of like a character getting a dub, but that dub not being what they thought it would be. And
yes,
I think
that's the best writing.
The prime example of it, like with the Pandora's box, where you killed all the gods now and opened up Pandora's box, but you just like destroyed this entire world. So now you have to like learn from that and grow from that.
That's the best writing, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I agree. If you can pull that off well, 100% behind you, my man. Yeah, if a win comes at a cost, you're doing something right. That's how it should be on some level. There should be a change.
At the end of the day, stakes and consequences and repercussions are how you can, at least in my mind, just write great stories at the end of the day. Like there has to be fallout every decision you make, good or bad.
Exactly, my man. You learn. Look at my boy. Learn. Look at my boy. Look at my son. Look at my son.
I've been reading a lot, nigga. I've been reading a lot. A shit ton.
You know, that's Nanami got no dubs against named characters.
Oh, Nanami. But yeah, here I would say Nanami's death, even though it was an L, it did inspire Yuji and inspired this whole story in a way too.
I mean, if you want to count Sasuke,
he beat Kabuto.
Did he?
Yeah, sure.
I don't even know that nigga that bullshit jutsu they pull out their ass for that shit. Like, oh yeah, Sharingan, you have reality warping abilities now, so fuck you.
It's not reality warping. He just put him in a constant loop of genjutsu until he realized that he was making an error in his ways, and then undid the jutsu.
I don't know. I'm thinking about fucking Danzo and the Izanagi. Or is it Izanami or I can't remember which was which. Izanagi or Izanami.
Izanami was the one that Itachi used. Izanagi was the one
Danzo.
Danzo, yeah. And now that was like super, like, oh, you can temporarily adjust reality, but it costs you an eye. What?
Why would you even learn how to do that? Who learned how to do that? You only have two eyes.
You sure he actually did it? Like, are you sure that really happened?
You could just be blind, big dog. This could just be you not knowing what's going on. Am I dead? No? Okay, it works. Guys, it works. Yeah, man.
The last thing I'll say is also it could be a fun thing, even before the whole wins and losses, is that the power itself or wielding the power comes at a cost too. We all love Daredevil here. In order for Daredevil to get his power, he had to, of course, lose his sight. It's a trade-off for that to happen. Speaking of Naruto, obviously, we mentioned that deal with the eye. Right there to get that power, you had to lose an eye to get it was crazy. But it's the same thing. Or even with Iron Man doing the snap, it cost him his life, but it was for a win. So if you have wielding power, I like an idea when wielding power itself does come at a cost. It does hurt, or it does
for Batman to subjugate the city of Gotham and all the petty criminals there. He had to get that inheritance. So
subjugate is crazy. But he's not wrong though. That's the crazy shit. Nigga becomes big brother of Gotham at that certain point.
Big brother.
Like, could you imagine being a person that had, like, if you have imagine having a record in Gotham, right? And not being able to get like a regular job, and then like Batman just exists. Like,
nigga, imagine Batman Incorporated, where that nigga had a team of like him, Tim Drake, Oracle, Clayface, Spoiler, Cassandra Cain, I think was on that team as well.
Was Damian there? Wasn't Damian there?
Damian was I don't think Damian was on Batman Incorporated at that point.
Okay.
It was Tim Drake. I think it was Tim Drake. I don't know if Dick was there. I think Dick may have been with the Titans at that point, or off doing the Red Hood and Outlaw thing with him and Starfire. But But like, bro, you got like all these Bat family members, and then Clayface was like, "Nigga, you were one of us. What are we doing?" And they just stare. They have this watchtower in Gotham where they can see and keep track of everything. And if Bruce ain't there to fuck you up, one of these 15 other demons, these YNs are gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. I couldn't. I'd moved to Star City. At least the Flash just like wrapped me up in some shit on City Hall.
So we gotta do an episode about the whole idea of people committing crimes in like cities that have an absorbent amount of superheroes. Like, why would you bother? Why bother? You know they're gonna find you eventually.
Any nigga doing crime in New York in Marvel is stupid.
they're all over the place. All over the place.
Nigga, like 70% of the heroes in Marvel take place and operate in New York, either at day or night. There's no day and point in time you can get away with shit.
They're literally like sectional heroes, right? Like,
yeah, this is my beat.
It's like maybe you get lucky and do with Spider-Man one day. Well, all right, I won't brutalized. But then you fuck up and you're on the wrong side of town committing crime, and then you end in a fucking Moon Knight and Daredevil. So now they're going to
even worse.
Nigga, you walk into the wrong bar and Punisher's there.
Broad daylight, it's all good. Luke Cage and Iron Fist are just chilling. Bro, no, thank you. And then the Avengers have a whole fucking manor and like area in the city. The Avengers, the Defenders. Nah, bro, I'd be so pissed. How does crime exist to that point? I don't understand it.
And there are still technically police. They do exist. They are running around doing their thing. So
I'd just be a scammer at that point. I'm still in identities at that point.
Nah, I'm out.
I'm selling insurance. What do you mean?
That's the best scam right there. Hey, that's the best scam.
You know, the insurance companies in Marvel are making all kinds of bang. There's a major event every other fucking year that's decimating New York City as a whole.
Yeah.
Was your car used as a weapon against a giant monster?
Could you imagine writing the policies though with the Department of Damage Control? How do you write up these? How do you try to imagine what will happen? Because everything can happen in that world.
It's like, yeah, the Hulk did use your car as a weapon, but he didn't hit the enemy with it. So technically, we can't.
He hit the ground. Therefore, you owe us $1,500 plus.
Yeah, we can't file your claim. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's terrible. I hate it.
Oh God. All right, y'all.
There are no rails. There are no rails. We fell off it years ago.
There anything else you want to plug before you ready to get up out of here for the church announcements?
If you haven't, well, this may come out after Virtuous Con, but
I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. So it'll probably come out at the same time.
For Sunday.
If you see this, get your passes for Virtuous Con. Come check out our booth for Echelon. Come check out our streams that we're facilitating, and come interact with other content creators and creators of color that are trying to translate their stories into something more.
There's gonna be some amazing people there. Between again, you have the big names like Aldrich Hodge and some other like Roya Coupe, the creator of Yanu. But we're gonna have like my favorite comic book writer right now, and Stephanie Williams will be there. I can't wait to see her panel. That interview's gonna happen at some point soon.
Can you talk, because you have a panel too? Can you talk to her? Do you think?
Probably not. I mean, I've been emailing her. I'm supposed to set up an interview with her in like 2 months. Like her schedule has been like packed from the beginning of this year, like the end of last year, so now it's been packed. So the interview with her is happening at some point in time. But I absolutely love Stephanie Williams, which is another Chicago native. Otis, so there's your people right there. Shorty.
She wrote for did she write for Marvel, DC, and like Image? And she wrote for everybody.
She made Nubia a household name for real. Like Nubia existed beforehand, but her 5-issue run on Nubia really made people remember who Nubia was. She's done so. She recently did a thing for Wonder Woman, but her big claim to fame right now, at least for me, are her run on Roots Madness right now, which is pretty much like a horror series kind of based off of Madam C.J. Walker in a sense. That is amazing. Temporal was fun, which I think you enjoyed that because it's like Back to the Future, but a thief version of it. It's like Indiana Jones mixed with Back to the Future type of situation. That's amazing that she's written. And what else has she written? That's my show.
She wrote Batgirl, I thought too, back in the day.
I think so. She's written a lot of shit at this point. All her indie stuff is just like amazing. She's wrote for the 25th next week, the new history of DC, the Dakota Incident is coming out. She wrote part of the chapter for that. They had an all-star team of black writers for that. It was like her, Nick Draper Ivy. I'm pretty sure Joseph Illich, one of the founding members and one of the editors for Milestone back in the day, wrote some of that as well. It was the All-Star Team of Black Writers, and she was on that as well. She does no wrong. DC, get your shit together and give her a Vixen run ongoing at some point. But is she
campaigning for that? Or
she put a post up about it, but everybody else after she put her post up was like campaigning for it because that's just like a perfect character for her in my mind. But again, she does great work. So shout out to her. In regards to other things that we have coming out, again, stay tapped into Echelon Graphic Novels. We have some announcements coming out really soon, and it's gonna be fun. We have some dope stuff we're cooking up. We're Echelon. It's gonna be dope.
Absolutely. And I just want to say real quick, I'm just we're approaching 1,000. I just want to thank everyone and anyone who's followed us for a time. Anyone who's come in even today, just briefly. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. You know, I know for most people, 1,000 ain't much, but for us, it means a lot. So I definitely appreciate it.
Once we hit a K, I think we need to do a live. Like let's do a live for the first time in a long time when we get 1K.
Thank you to this.
It's a live show. Yeah. I thought we should. I just got to figure out. We could probably do it through Riverside probably. But yeah, and again, for my personal note, for people that have been subscribing to my own channel and supporting, thank you guys so much. I think we got another 2,000 subs in 2 weeks, so we're at a little bit over 7,000 now. Everybody that's been taking a part of it and really helping the channel grow. I felt the love and support. So thank you to everybody.
It's Captain Diesel. The channel is Captain Diesel. In case you don't know, he didn't say the name of this Captain Diesel.
Yeah, Captain Diesel's Dojo. I think I have a link to this channel as well at the bottom when you go to like the associated channels. It's in there. It's been dope. It's been great, and it makes me even more happy to know that I did that not just based off of drama. That I did that based on my passion and care for certain characters and concepts that popped off. That Icon video, nigga, is doing very well, and I'm really happy to see that it's doing very well. People have been loving and vibing with that video. But that's all that I have. But yeah, y'all, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. Again, if you guys have made it this far into the stream, it means you liked it. So do us that favor and like the stream or the video, whatever this shit is. Like it, please. Subscribe to the channel to be tapped in with any of our future episodes and endeavors. And yeah, y'all, this has been another episode of the Then and Now podcast. Y'all remember, forever and always.
You're listening to the Then and Now podcast.
Peace, y'all.
Yeah. The Night of Seven Kingdoms finally picked up. I'll throw that in there.